everyone, and welcome to Ink Spotlights from Comix Wellspring. This is the series where we shine the spotlight on immensely talented creators who print with us. Today, we're joined by Ro Higashi and to talk about her books and her webtoon projects, some of her journey, and so much more. Welcome to the show, Ro. It's so great to talk to you about your projects. What can you tell me about just webtoons and how you got involved from webtoons into comics for your book?
Yeah, so I had gone to Japanese manga school, like in Japan, for about a semester, and so I learned how to do like traditional comicking there. So how manga school works out in Japan is that like they're trying to kind of pump out assistants for professional manga artists. So if you're done with the end of the 2 years, then they automatically put you with a professional manga person to be like their inker or whatever they need. So I originally did that. And although I was really good about, trying to do everything from scratch, I realized the one thing that took a lot of my time and still does is figuring out the layout of a page. And I got really obsessive about just having a really good layout of the page. And the one thing that really attracted me with scroll up comics, specifically web comics, was that kind of removed that part of the process. And so I could just focus on making panel by panel. And that really sped things up for my production. And that's one of the reasons why I just really fell in love with it.
And that kind of makes sense too, because once I read the first volume of Half of the Crown, like it's so fluid, and I found like it was more fluid than like most books I've read and whatnot. And I think there's a special consideration with the scroll versus the page turn. And I even feel like you nailed the page turns, and it kept me invested. I think the first volume's like almost like 90 pages or something like that. It's a pretty large chunk of content, but the speed and the flow of it is just so, I guess, organic. And what you do with your storytelling there is very, very unique compared to other comics, which, if a denser book, you might be intimidated by, but for some reason yours just flies by. But I think it's that scroll consistency you probably kept going through it. What got you invested in like creating and drawing in general?
So Half of the Crown is actually a story I've been working on, probably since 15 years ago. I probably rebooted it about 8 times. So the version that you see now is the 8th version of it, but it's the only one that I've stuck with. The past versions, I think I've just kind of done, really sloppily. I did it very hastily. So I was just more like, I want to get it out there, but I didn't do all of the bare bones stuff first, which was like lay out, the entire story first, do the scripting first, and then, maybe test out some thumbnails. And so for this version, I actually did that. And I think number one, revamping the characters to be more real to me, and more authentic to me, I think really kind of set the tone that I was always looking for. Because originally the comic was supposed to be in Japan. Because when I was going to manga school, it was my expectation that I would finish out the 2 years in manga school, and then I would be living in Japan for the rest of my life. So originally the story was supposed to be, a story for a Japanese audience. And then having moved back here and then realizing, oh, we're not going back to Japan, I realized, okay, well, I need to make this something more authentic to my own multicultural experience. And it's not that, the book is supposed to be a super multicultural thing, but I did include a lot of my own things that I grew up with. For example, most of the demons or cryptids that you see are from the Philippines. A lot of the martial arts is from the Philippines too. And I'm really into also, I think, what is that called? Wing Chun? I'm probably pronouncing it wrong. Like I just really love like martial arts choreography, and so
cool.
That may not show in the first issue just yet, but it's just one of those things that like I think in the first earlier versions I just kind of went all out with fighting choreo too hard too soon, and I think it just kind of made people go, okay, this is, it looks okay, but what the hell? And so I just, took a step back and made sure that this version had more of a slow burn and just kind of eased the reader into it.
I love that. Yeah, this first one definitely has more of a slice of life feel, and then towards the end, we really start to dive into like some of the action, which is really gripping. I'm very curious to what happens next. But speaking of what happens next, what's the next piece of work we can expect from you?
So we are working on releasing volume 2, and hopefully soon after that, volume 3. I'm just kind of, this year in 2024, I've been focusing more on just kind of learning the ropes of the American indie comic print industry, because I feel like it's a lot different than the webcomic world. And I've just been trying to, I guess, learn different types of styles, because I realized too that I definitely have like a creative deficit, because I spent so much time creating, but not a lot of time consuming. So this year, I'm hoping that will probably affect me in certain ways. And my art has changed so much, so it's probably already doing it. But that's how we evolve, I guess.
I love that. Yeah, there's growth with every step, and it doesn't matter which way you go. There's a step of like somewhat of progression, but you also fall behind on some parts too. I'm kind of on a consumption phase and not a creative phase right now, so I know that flip around where you got to kind of sacrifice one for the other for just a bit to kind of balance out your own creative journey overall.
Yeah.
But where can we find all of this awesome work? Where can everybody go and like we can link them up to so they can find your books?
Yeah, so if you are interested in looking at my webcomic, it's most up to date on Webtoon, but you can also find it on Global Comics and Tepis. But for the print, a lot of it has updated art. And then, as you see in the back of the book, I included some bonus stuff like pinups from other artists, and a little Q&A that I collected some questions from some of my followers on social media. And then yeah, you can find that at cosmiclionproductions.com.
Awesome. And we all know that we love the Cosmic Lion crew and everything you guys do. We love supporting your all's work. Everybody from Morgan to Adam to Eli, they're just wonderful creators over at Cosmic Lion. So it's great to know you're part of the team. And it was great meeting you this year too. So I'm so excited for us to go on a deep dive interview on Inspired Inc. All of our audience, please go check out that long form interview. We're going to hear so much about Ro's journey and everything she does. Ro, thank you so much for stepping in the spotlight today. And it's been a blast talking.
Thank you for having me.